the Emperor!
Hello Wargamers, it's me Callum from Tabletop Banter, and we approach the end of the week almost, having a look at Dark Angels in particular, and you may have guessed that this one way to paint a would be Ravenwing. As I've done the Green Wing and I've done the Deathwing, it's time to move on to the other key component of Dark Angels, the Ravenwing. I was never big on bikes before Ravenwing, but now I've decided I actually think they look pretty cool. So there's every chance I'll be doing something more with them in the future. Also kind of like I've been reading a little bit of fluff, and I've been enjoying it too. The whole inner circle and hunting down the fallen and stuff is very interesting. So if you haven't read any Dark Angel stuff, I would definitely recommend it. But just like the last ones, we're going to go through this paint by paint and have a look at what each bit entails, really. So I'm going to obviously start with the the dominant colour here, which is the black. So what I've done for the black is, I'll just move this further around a bit. I've based it in a Baden black, and I've done a simple edge highlight with Administratum grey. That's provided this sort of, so it's a very simple edge highlight. You can see there's nothing too crazy about it. It's just on these bits here. See it going around the back there as well on whoops, a daisy, let's stick him back on. You can see it going around on the power armor as well. I'll be a bit more careful with him, and up here as well. Just a simple edge highlight. Ooh, doesn't really fancy it. And yeah, that just runs all the way around the bike. Pretty simple. The black was nice as well. That worked on the tyres too. As you can see, a very dark model, but then the Ravenwing is that kind of thing. It's stealthy, it's cloak and shadows sort of stuff. So now that we've seen the quick way to do the black, it's just a simple edge highlight. There's nothing more to it. I'm going to go on to the whites. I've discussed this in both of the previous videos, but as it's a fairly key part of Ravenwing, I think it's a good idea to discuss it now. There's no harm in it. So, as I mentioned before, there are two ways to build up a white. There's a warm white and a harsh white. I went for the harsh one, so this is a Celestra Grey base with a very light white scar dry brush. This has been used here, obviously, for the wing parts and at the back. I very much prefer the one at the back. It came out much smoother than the one at the front. You should be able to see a bit better there. And yeah, obviously those are two larger components of the bike, covered in two colours, black and white. But obviously they're two colours that aren't always easy to paint because they're so simple. You do have to know which colours to use. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like I said, this is just one way to paint a Ravenwing biker. It's the way I've chosen. It's the way I find most comfortable. So yeah, just simple white dry brush on top of a Celestra Grey base. So coming on to the red. If you've been watching all the videos, you will know the method by now, but if you're here just for the Ravenwing, it is a base of Wazdaka red. Oh, I'll leave that in the background, followed by a edge highlight of Squig orange. The Squig orange really dulls down the red and just brings it to a slightly kinder on the eyes tone. So you can see I've used this here for the twin-linked bolt gun there and the bolt pistol that he is holding. Very simple. But it looks tidy, it looks neat, and that's really the main thing you've got to do, is try and keep it as neat as possible. Also for the skull up here and on the backpack. Same principle though, you just base it in Wazdaka. It might need one or two layers depending on how thin you want your paints. I water mine down a bit just to make them much nicer to apply, and then so it takes maybe 2 layers, 1.5 if you. And then also the eyes I've done in red here, but they're nice and dark. They're kept dark because they don't need to be as bright, I don't think. For the metallics, for the exhaust pipes and such, it is the same procedure that we have been doing for the last few, which has been quite simple really. A lead belcher base coat, followed up by an Agrat Earthshade wash, and that's it. And you can see it just tones the metallics down a bit and gives it that kind of used look, which you can see clearly on both sides here. and the trim on the fronts and the backs, they're done in metallics as well. As I think that's the way they were done in the Dark Vengeance box set books, so that's sort of how I did it. Also metallics in here in the backpack as well, just like in the Tactical Marine in the first video. The engine and the what are they called? Forks. The forks for the front wheel in there, also done in silver or metallic, like a metal colour, you know. Moving on to our gold. Another fine example of this other method of my method of doing gold is this Ravenwing bike, and you can really see how, like, I think that's a very beautiful gold colour, a really warm and burnished, like old gold effect, if you like. So I'm just going to move him across again, and we're going to go through how I did this. First of all, we start with a layer of auric armor gold, just here. And it comes out quite bright. You don't need to worry about that. It does get dulled down slightly by the next step, which is a shade of Agrax Earthshade. And that just dulls that down a bit, and then we get the shine back with the Runelord Brass dry brush. Quite light, sort of a medium, really, a medium dry brush with that. And it gives it this lovely burnished gold effect. With the bike, when you're painting it, remember to be patient, because you're painting two models. You're painting a bike and a Space Marine. So that's just my tip there, really. Be patient. Don't hurry. It's okay. It takes a little bit longer, but that's fine. Here we have the console. Again, super simple. You can be a bit more complicated. I did Moot Green as the base colour. I then gave it a heavy Agrax Earthshade wash just to dull it down, and then I used the Moot Green again just to edge highlight a couple of details on the edges, just to give it that kind of light shining off of it effect. Apologies about that, guys. My camera cut out, ran out of battery, so I'll just use this second clip to finish off the video and talk about the last few touches which need to be done to this Ravenwing bike. So before I got cut out, as you can see, here is the bone insignia there. So that was quite simply a layer of Ushabti bone, and then a very light wash of Agrax Earthshade, just to give it a slightly darker and richer tone. The final thing to do for this model was the base. As you can see, the same themed base as before, that kind of demon planet look. If you have been following the videos already, obviously you will already know what this bit is. If you haven't, then it is a Abaddon Black base coat, followed by a heavy dry brush of Xerxes Purple, and then followed by a lighter dry brush of Emperor's Children. You will know I've used Citadel paints. That's just because I like them. I don't have an airbrush or anything, so I don't need the dropper bottle so much. But yeah, that's how you do the base. I've covered everything now for this Ravenwing bike. So obviously, like I said in the last clip, you just got to be patient with this one. You are painting two models for one model, really, the bike and the Space Marine. But yeah, don't be afraid to deviate from what I say. Obviously, this is one way to paint and if you do use it, great. Then let me know. Of course, comment below to say if you have found this, helpful, or if there's a way you do it differently that you'd like to share. Be my guest. Yeah, that's what the comment section's for. Don't forget to also like and subscribe. It's you people that make me want to keep making the videos. And don't forget, have fun.